Ed, thanks. A lot of eyes on that legislation today. Let's go back to Gail along the U.S.-Mexico border. She is outside a facility holding undocumented immigrants in McAllen, Texas, hearing stories of people who were inside. Gail, good morning.
Yeah, and the stories are not good. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen says children taken into custody by the government are, in her words, very well taken care of. Consuelo Godoy Garcia would tend to agree with that. Disagree with that, I should say. She and her 15-year-old son Ronaldo fled Guatemala. We spoke with him yesterday about what he experienced in detention. Were you treated very well? Were you afraid there?
¿Te trataron bien? ¿Tenías miedo?
Sí, tenía mucho miedo ahí.
I was very scared.
What were you scared of?
Porque pensé que ya no.
I didn't think I'd see my mom again. They didn't tell me where we were going.
Were the conditions nice?
Le levantan a uno aquí a las 12 de la noche.
At midnight, they'd wake you up. ¿Hacer qué? To do what?
To do what?
A contarlo, se lo levantan a uno.
To count everyone in the cells.
They'd wake you up at midnight to count everyone in the cell?
Y que se fuera a acostar uno.
They just counted you and you could go back to bed.
Go back to sleep. Ronaldo also told us that he did not get enough to eat. He said he was fed apples and water, and neither did other people. Jonathan Ryan is the executive director of the Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services. They are the largest immigration legal aid group in Texas. Jonathan, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We just showed a bite about conditions. You've worked with clients. What are they telling you about the conditions that they're experiencing?
The conditions inside of these detention centers and shelters, they vary. In the detention centers, you have to understand these are for-profit companies that make their money by housing people at little cost. In the context of the children, these are better or worse. They're much like the children's shelters that we have in Texas, which unfortunately should be no comfort to anyone who cares about children. You just have to do a Google search about the state of foster care and shelter care for children in Texas, and you'll find a laundry list of abuses and crimes against them.
When you get a new client, a parent and a child, what's your number one priority for them?
Absolutely. It's establishing trust so that we can assist them with their legal case, because you're often the first person perhaps in their life who is not there to take advantage of them or to hurt them. And so establishing trust, particularly after what our own government has done to them at the border, is a big challenge.
And they so want to find someone to trust. When we were in a shelter yesterday in the Catholic Services, the refugee center, we had women asking us, do you know why this bracelet is on me, the ankle bracelet? They have so little information. They don't really understand what is happening or who the people are that they're dealing with. It's heartbreaking to see that.
That's right. They're explained very little.
Yes.
And most of all, when they're released, they're not explained the fact that they have to return to court. Very little is done, suspiciously little is done to inform these people of their rights.
Now, Chief Manny Padilla was with us yesterday, and he said separating these people are treated no differently than a person here who has a child who commits a crime, that they're not treated any differently.
Do you believe that? I dismiss that right out of hand, because if a person or parent in this country commits a crime and goes to jail, we do not put that child into a jail and separately prosecute that child, which is what's happening to these children. Each individual member of the family is being separately prosecuted. A different judge, a different prosecutor, and a different legal process. It's very confusing and disjointed and costly.
He also told us something I thought interesting, that in many cases that drug dealers and gang members are using children as pawns to get inside the country.
This is just a common phrase that we hear flaunted by people who have an anti-immigrant interest. I know because I have worked for over a decade and represented hundreds, thousands of children in this context. Each story is individual. It's an individual story of pain, of suffering, of abuse, and escape in a moment of horror to try to find freedom.
Yeah, it did appear to be painting a whole group of people with one brush when we were talking yesterday. Thank you very much for coming. We really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. For now, let's send it back to John in New York.